Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cats. Let's play that. Today we're taking a look at Circus Charlie by Konami. Let's see. Choose the screen. Interesting. Well, we'll start from the start. And, alright. So we are playing Circus Charlie. You can move left to right with the joystick, and you press the jump button to, well, jump. And then, okay. So these ones are a little tricky. You gotta line them up. And then this one, you gotta space them out. And, there's no timer, really. So you just gotta make sure you're doing it right. Now, well, okay. I was going to say the first time I ever encountered this game was on the Konami DS arcade collection, but that's not true. I think the first time I ever encountered this was when we plugged in what appeared to be an N64 controller into our TV, and what it turned out to be, I mean, again, we bought this $40 weird-sounding video game system at, well, a state fair of all places, and what we got a NES emulator. So yeah, way back in the day, we had a NES emulator on an N64 cartridge. And so I believe, well, this was one of those guys that had like, 1,000 ROMs in one, but each ROM is like the same thing. And so at least 20 of them were various levels of Circus Charlie. So we got mildly acquainted with Circus Charlie as we went along. So, well, throughout that whole ordeal, I learned how to play Circus Charlie. And, I guess in thinking about it later, the DS came out, and then the Konami Classics Arcade Advanced Collection, so some variation of those words, came out, and, well, once again, the dream of Circus Charlie lived again. I guess I didn't realize that I had actually played it before on the N64 controller. Man, that's a blast from the past. But anyway, we're back, and we've got Circus Charlie. So Circus Charlie is a minigame collection with, oh, strange. So we can still go back to screens we've beaten, which is kind of interesting when you think about it, because it's like, why would you be able to go backwards? It's like, yeah, I like that one stage a whole lot, and it's real easy, so I'm just gonna extend my time. Now you can, of course, oh yikes. So the whole deal with this stage is that if you stick around, then you'll bounce higher. If you want to waste your time, you can bounce way high and get those pots of gold, but that's not what I'm about. So I'm holding right, and we're going backwards through the alphabet. I'm holding left now, and we are going forward like normal. So that is actually rather strange. Usually, right is forward in the alphabet, and left is back. So these guys got the memo, or actually they got the memo, just a little bit backwards. All right, let's head back to this stage. I mean, well, I was gonna say this stage it requires nothing more than patience, really, but that's kind of this whole game. I mean, pretty much it's all about timing, so if you're willing to wait, then you can get whatever timing you're asked for. I read online when I was finding a copy of this that this was a game intended for children. I guess that's why I always enjoyed its fairly simple and simplistic game design. But honestly, I kind of appreciate that they get like right down to the metal. It's like there's nothing standing between you and the game. It's just there's a game in front of you. Here are 2 or 3 controls, go for it. It's a little bit similar in spirit to the WarioWare collection, the WarioWare minigame collection, but unlike that, oh yikes. Okay, so this one you gotta jump from ball to ball. So again, if you were wondering, it's like started pretty easy. How hard can it get? Well, this is just regular hard. It gets a little bit worse. It doesn't get like terribly so, but there's some bite to this game. Childish graphics aside. It's also kind of interesting that you move back about as much as you move forward. Maybe that's a little metaphorical for life. Oh. Okay. Pro tactics. Jumping in place. And no. Defeated. So I guess the objective is look before you leap. Something that perhaps I'm not very acquainted with. Oh yeah. So it was like the WarioWare collection. Except these games are kind of fully fledged games. Like, the WarioWare minigame collection, microgames, I think is what they were trying to market them as. That was, I mean, each game is kind of nice and entertaining for the 2 or so seconds you're expected to play them, but you kind of go any further and there's not much there. I mean, well, WarioWare had this whole mode where you would essentially play each game over and over and over. And I believe Dante wrote that was the 5th Circle of Hell, playing the same tiny little game over and over. Whereas this, it's like, yeah, each game is fairly basic, but it's like, there's a real game. You can play it over and over. I mean, it gets a little boring like around the 5th or so time because you've kind of figured out how it all works. I mean, maybe you could try in the timer and get hard. Oh, man. Oh, are those... Okay, eternal debate. On the little pony there... Well, is it a horse or a Shetland pony? But that's not what I was going for. So there were 2 little dots on what appeared to be its head area. Now, are those eyes or are those nostrils? Okay, and so what you can do here is you can actually change your speed. Not while you're doing anything, you pretty much have to commit to a jump and then you can do the speed. Well, I never quite realized how hard this could be back in the day when I was just kind of doing it, but this is actually a little bit tricky. And then, of course, you got little bouncers that'll keep you in the air, but... Huh. Now how come the arcade Konami collection thing didn't have the level select? Can you jump? Okay. So you can't change speed while in the air, but once you land on something, then you can change the speed. And of course, weird arcade rules apply where you can make forward progress even as you die. Well, okay, there's no continue function, but there's something about as nice. Your character keeps moving forward. Wow. I think what's so tricky is that it constantly changes up the heights of the, like, platform things it throws at you. In fact, I'm not even 100% sure that they repeat. The patterns repeat. Well, I mean, I know they repeat because I got killed by that pattern like 5 times now. But this will take some doing. And then, that's so funny, you start speeding up midway through. That is an interesting horse. He, like, listens to you, but he also doesn't. You know, I think I'm on Team Nostrils right now, but I could be convinced. Because, I mean, again, maybe they're eyes. It's like the flounder of horses. Yeah, that's something you're not going to see in, Anyway, there we go. Didn't think that would work, but I guess it did. Well, relatively speaking. Alright, well, one more try, right? It's an arcade game. It's made for kids. It's gotta be easy. It's gotta be easy. We can do this. We can do this. Okay, so moving on to the last hardest stage. This one. Did I get... Well, I thought you would hold right, and you could jump right. But no, Circus Charlie just falls. You can barely control yourself after letting go, but not really. Still easier than the horse. Well, when they said hardest, they were not kidding. That was the hardest. Let's give it another go, but I'm pretty sure we've seen just about all... That's right, you can't jump off. Ugh. And then, okay, so you can use forward momentum, but you don't want to... Oh. Oh my gosh. I can see that guy in the background. You know, now that I think about it, in the Arcade Advanced Collection, I don't know that I ever actually made it to this stage, so I don't actually know how to play. Which is, well, I'd say disappointing, but that's kind of life. Although, those, like, the ropes themselves were actually surprisingly detailed. There were a bunch of, like, small little balls that kind of animate separately. And again, oh, well, are you gonna rub it in, arcade machine? Let's see how you play, huh? Is this one of those demos where they're good or one of the demos where they're bad? Pretty sure they're bad because this level is impossible. Well, anyone can do that. Lucky jump. Alright, so that's how you'll play this one. But anyway, taking a look at the ropes, then it's like a whole bunch of independently moving circles. And actually, that's probably a lot more taxing on the CPU than you'd expect. It's not necessarily a complicated effect visually, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of something that you didn't necessarily need. Well, okay, now that I look at it, they don't really scale or anything. So, in fact, that could just be like one big long sprite. What did the date say? 84, I think? I see. So it kind of lulls you in. It's like, hey, check out this easy gameplay. So easy a kid can do it. And then, then they make you do the tightrope. And it's like every time you fail, Circus Charlie dies. I love that moment of realization. It's like, oh crap, we're stuck. And he jumps backwards over the fire. 1984. So, no, this was actually a very early arcade game. And, yeah, I mean, honestly, some games, it's like you can toss everything in the kitchen sink at a game and, like, you might achieve something. But this game, it's like pure, simple arcade gameplay. Now, I'd say this was a minigame collection of sorts, but let's be realistic, it's not that much more complicated, or much less complicated than most other arcade games out there. It's pretty much like what you see is what you get, which is the overriding philosophy for essentially all other arcade games. So, no, I'm willing to say that this is just a regular arcade game. Circus Charlie. It's not one of my favoriteest games, but if you put it in front of me, yeah, I'll play it. I'll waste an allowance or so. Oh, I didn't know you could go backwards and reset your jumps. Pro tips, guys. Pro tips. And on that note, this cat's got a scat before the CPU embarrasses me anymore.